Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Hungry People Podcast, the hungriest podcast in America. There's your boy, Michael Patrick Buckley. I'm here with my co-host, AJ, the killer Diveka. AJ, you're looking fly in that banana polo today. I like it. What's going on? What's going on, dude?
Good to be here, MP.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is freaking awesome. It's awesome to always sit down with you and have wonderful, intelligent talks.
I concur.
Do you? Do you think Dr. Lyle would agree? We got to get him to listen to an episode and get his thoughts on what.
Yeah, I was thinking of which one to send him. You know, would it be the first one's the perfect one to send him to have like a taste of what hungry people is? But we say in the video like he's coming on. Like
that's so
like,
funny.
will he see that as like arrogance? But that's like,
no, it's great. If anything, it should boost him up and make him feel good.
Like he is the big one. We still need to have.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're definitely gonna get him on. Dr. Lyle, if you listen to this, we are gonna get you on the podcast.
He's not
we want to hear what you have to say about every little bit of information in the world. But dude, it's funny because even going back and listening to that episode, the first one we had,
it's great. I listened to it like 10 times.
I honestly, I can't. It makes me cringe. I can't listen to it. I just really? It's like how we're talking. I think like in the intro, I'm like, welcome to the Hungry People Podcast.
We have like an innocent energy. I love it.
No.
We seriously look like 10 years younger.
Yeah, dude, for some reason we do.
Act 10 years younger too.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. But
anyways, have so much hope and imagination about the world.
Right
now we're in World War III.
Right. Anyway, so I saw a post on Instagram the other day, and I really wanted to talk about it with AJ. And I always love getting AJ's thoughts. AJ is an extremely intelligent human. He's the
full-time job answering all of MP's questions.
I'm the question guy. I ask a lot of questions. But AJ is definitely Dr. Doug Lyle's prodigy. Hopefully one day.
What an honor.
Yeah. So anyways, I shared this post with AJ, and I'm actually gonna read the post to you guys here. And it just struck an interest in me. And I'm not gonna say who it's from, but so the post is I eat when I'm hungry, stop when I'm full, make almost everything from scratch except for a pizza whenever I want them. I adore every bite and love sitting down and consuming food. Absolutely love eating. I don't consume food to heal. I don't consume it for energy. I don't consume it to build muscle or tissue. I don't eat to detox or cure anything. I don't eat for a specific organ or a previous event in my life. I definitely don't need to lose fat or to stay lean. I can't, you can't eat like me. You eating like me won't work for you. And me eating like you won't work for me. There is no diet that will ever work to the point of nourishing for anyone. So stop asking for or seeking one out. Like every other inch of your life, you need to figure out what feels best for you. And since you are changing every second of every day, you've got some observing to do within yourself. Enjoy the trip tasting your life. That's it.
It's a great post.
Yeah, no, I think he makes a lot of great points in there. And I think it has a lot of validity. And we know that, I mean, everyone's clearly everybody is different. But I do believe that people on the internet, social media, YouTube, whatever, I do believe that they think that like everyone can eat a certain diet or one way and that this is the only way. When, I mean, dude, even when you look at a plant-based way of eating, you can eat it 1,000 different ways. You know, there's so many options you can choose from and what you can do. But yeah. Anyways, the one
it really speaks to the camps where it's like, hey, if you're a male and you're 26, you should be having at least 2,600 calories of whole foods, and it's like, or whatever, or you should be eating meat and you need to eat at least one steak a day. It's like, doesn't that seem like profound ignorance to you? Like when I hear that, it sounds so small. It sounds like it's people are looking at it from like the most blind point of view that you could have.
Right.
Can you not entertain the infinite possibilities that other people experience, go through? Are people really that limited in their biology to not understand
Right.
that the needs of some are so skewed in a way compared to them, like more fat needs, more sodium needs? Like there's this I don't know if it was a study, but an article where this child would eat so much salt. He could eat a whole salt shaker in a day. He just craved it like crazy. And then the parents were like, well, this isn't good. They like pulled back the salt, and the kid died because his adrenal glands were so messed up and not functioning properly. Every single time like he did anything, he would lose most of his sodium. Like his body couldn't like hold on to it properly and utilize it. So he was consuming literally a whole salt shaker. Now, if an average person did this, they could have died. Probably.
Yeah, right.
but that's the thing. It's so individualized. Like why create? The only time it's good is like you create a roadmap for people to have some idea. But we have to evolve from that. Right. We have to.
I mean, even you and even myself, we've eaten a variety.
We don't evolve.
No. No, we just do the
stagnant.
same. We just do the
We're
same.
stagnant.
Yeah, you're right. No, but I mean, ever since I've been eating only plants over 4 years, I mean, it's evolved ever since then. Even like sometimes it's month to month. You know, sometimes like obviously I have my foundation of what I like to eat, but I mean, it does change over time. And I think that's good. I think that it's like good to always be adjusting, always be evolving, always be learning.
But what I have to say to that is, if it's working and you're having great results, you don't have to change that much,
totally,
right?
Totally.
So I feel as though like the results are really what dictate everything. And actually, I'm going to make a video like for our YouTube channel about this topic, about, you know, results being like the fucking most important thing. Like if you're eating a meat diet and you're thriving and you're doing great and you're making money and you're fit and you have a beautiful wife, blah, blah, blah. Or if you're doing it on plants, it's like the results are what matter.
Yeah.
If you're eating a meat diet and you look horrible and you feel horrible and no one wants to be around you because you smell like shit and you can't work. Okay, it's like what's about the food, right? It's about the results.
Yeah. And honestly, dude, just having those conversations with you has really it's made such a difference in my life, dude. You know, even just like hearing what you have to say about like meeting the person's needs and like having a foundation and asking like, do you feel good? Like, do you feel good? You know, like who cares what anyone says? Like, how do you feel on the way you're eating? If you don't feel good, then make a change. So, and then like the results is even better, you know? So it's like we have feeling good. What kind of results are you getting? What do you look like? Dude, it's freaking awesome, dude. Like, so just
yeah, and it can change day to day. Like I was just reading this book, Rise of the Ultra Runners, and we can all agree like we probably shouldn't use so much salt, right? Like salt has negative implications, but these guys who are running ultras, they're dipping watermelon slices in a tub of salt because they're losing so much sodium as they're going for 100 miles, and it becomes necessary. So if you're like, well, I don't have salt because it's bleached. It's like, you want to get hyponoctremia and fucking have your kidneys fail, like your brain to swell. Like, let's get more specific. Let's give a general idea, but like really talk about specific stuff. Like using money is a great example too. It's like you have people who make lots of money, but they have no money.
Yeah, right. Because
so there's an issue there because there's people who make way less money, have way more. And it can be looked at in a similar way.
So, well, I guess it would just, obviously with the money thing, it would just depend on your situation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's so individual. You can't just say, if I make 100,000, I'm going to be good.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah. What if
you don't know loans?
That? Yeah. Like a lot of people who are in medical school.
What if you have loans? What if you're just bad with money? What if you go out to eat every single day? Yeah. What if you give other people all your, like, there's just so many factors. It's impossible to say.
Right. Well, and that's the thing with a lot of the stuff people say on social media is that there's just absolutely no context in anything.
Yeah.
Like people, it's just so broad. There's like specific statements, but they're just so broad because it's not the same for every single person. And we're so individualized. And I mean, you could take 10 people and everyone's going to have completely different story and a completely different way of needing something. So yeah, it's like that, even the other day I was going off to AJ and our friend Jenna just about like this one dude's post, and it's just some of the stuff people say is just so it's just ignorant. And my whole point with what this kid was talking about was that he has absolutely no context at all. And on social media, anyone can just say whatever they want. It doesn't.
Did you want to tell people like what was said?
Yeah, no, yeah. He basically was saying that like vegans are scared of eating meat, dairy, and eggs, and
terrifying.
When really it's not that big of a deal, and you're eating these vegan processed meat products and stuff like that. I'm just like once again, there's just no context whatsoever. If you eat a 95% whole foods diet of plants, so like eating 5% of like some processed foods, even if it is an Impossible Burger, Impossible Burger or Beyond Burger or whatever, it's really not gonna make that big of a difference unless your system is just so messed up and you can't even handle that product.
Right. So and what's confusing is the same people who are eating the meat products. Like, let's say they believed carnivore was like the best, right? It's the best diet, just like how the raw vegans will say the raw vegan is the best, right? Or whole food plant-based. They're not eating 100% organic meat.
Yeah,
an animal product. Like, they're still eating bread. They're still eating whatever.
Yeah.
So the vegans can't have a little leeway in having some processed foods.
Right.
But if they do, they're, I don't know.
It's like they're condemned almost.
Well, I think that's where the immaturity, we're seeing the people who are in their 20s, early 20s, who maybe they did vegan for a year or two, or maybe they did some type of diet, and they've had the back and forth, but that they're still claiming to know, even though they're still failing in their own eyes. And they're going back and forth to things, jumping around, not having the results they want, but they still have this need to preach, which is strange, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, wouldn't you feel as though you don't want to say much until you have some results?
Right. I mean, you could even say like with us, like, do we even have enough time doing what we're doing to speak on it? I mean, I know you've been obviously doing it for much longer, like almost double my time, but it's almost like how much time is needed to talk on a subject. How much schooling do you need to be able to say, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you should take this pill, you should take that pill, don't do this, don't mix that with that. And
that's why I like that you appreciated that Tavis video I sent you, because that's what he talks about, right? He stepped away for a while ago. Yeah, well, he essentially wasn't just going to go out and teach things. He's like, I'm going to fucking live this, master it for 10 years. And then if it's still working and I feel like I know what I'm talking about, then I'll, share my wisdom, etc. And there's definitely a huge level of respect to that. Yeah.
And him saying that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I only have like 4 years of experience with this. Like, what the heck? Am I like, should we even doing this?
Well, we're just sharing our thoughts. We're not telling people what to do.
Yeah. No. 100%.
No, it's healthy to have the back and forth.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, I can say that I almost appreciate someone who does like do their own research and goes out and has been self-studying for years and years, and they have a good idea of what they're talking about, compared to someone who just like goes to school. Although like those people who go to school are extremely trustworthy and I trust what they have to say. I'm just saying that like I can
have a lot of good things to say too.
Yeah, totally. I'm just saying that I can appreciate the people who do go out and actually take the time for themselves and learn themselves, even though they don't have a schooling, a background or a degree or anything, because that's the thing, is that there's so much information on the internet and on social media that you really can learn without having to go to school. Now, obviously, like it depends on the source and if what you're talking about is legitimate or not, but even still on certain subjects, there's just so many different viewpoints. Let's even just take like LDL cholesterol. This is like the biggest topic that's talked about on Twitter. I'm not sure if you're on, I don't think you're on Twitter.
I'm glad I'm not on Twitter.
But like health Twitter is a completely different beast than Instagram Twitter. Or wait. Health Twitter is a completely different beast than health Instagram. It seems like the people on Twitter are all about like studies and evidence and this and that, and like you can't say anything without backing up your thoughts, with some source or something. When there's a million studies for a million different stuff out there. But anyways, yeah, I just think that like with LDL cholesterol, people could go it's just like a constant battle on on Twitter about like what's true and what's not. People say like, oh no, you want your LDL cholesterol to be super high. And then other people are like, no, like that's like the greatest risk of heart disease. You don't want that. You want to have your LDL as low as possible, not as low as possible, but like lower so that you don't get heart disease and have a heart attack.
Right.
And then people are bringing in like other parts of arteries and fat stuff, whatever.
Yeah, you have calcium utilization is the artery like losing and pulling from the walls and becoming weaker.
Yeah. But
maybe more brittle and things like that.
Yeah, but my point is that like there's just so much information, but there's also a lot of conflicting information out there.
Right.
That it's
the consumer's confused.
And sometimes it can be tough to find like what's correct. And then that would like that's a good time to like bring in someone who is like a doctor or a nutritionist, and like get their thoughts to like mediate the middle ground, so
So I was just listening to Dr. Brian Clement, and he was saying that when he was doing his university and studies, he's like, I had to actively put the wrong answer because that's how it is in the books. He's like, even though I know this is wrong, like 100% in the medical book, I have to write the wrong answer because it's the one they gave me.
Really?
He was just going on about how a lot of things can be skewed, and not all of it, but a lot of things are just misinterpreted, misunderstood, funded in a way. And we can all pretend like we can see the difference so clearly, but I think that's profound ignorance to think that even. Like, there's just so many elements when it comes to it. Like, you'll have these like 17-year-olds like, oh, I know how to reverse heart disease really easily.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, yeah, even if someone like did that, followed that info and reversed heart disease, it is almost an ignorance in a sense. It's like there's a simplicity, but there's also a complicated, real deep version of it,
Right.
And I think that everyone thinks that they're an expert when clearly they're not, but they might have the right information.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's
no.
There's so many elements involved, and I just feel as though, like you said, people are just given such a generalization as if it's a fact. Like, if you have bacon in the morning, it is healthy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what if you're inflamed from it when you eat it? Oh, it's because of the carbs you ate 6 years ago. It's like, oh my God, it's silly.
It's because you still have fiber stuck in your gut from all the plants that you're eating.
Right. It's because
all the oxalates are.
Yeah, all the people that are 500 pounds, it's because they had too many salads. It's like, come on. The oxalates are the reason they have kidney stones.
Yeah, right.
It's just too much.
Nah, it's
and then everything becomes a personal attack. I feel as though like once you do that, you're just in the lowest part. You're just pointing back and forth, right?
Well, even still,
things can be brought up for discussion, but at the same time, if you're just taking shots at people, what are you going to get?
Yeah, right. Well, even still, I made a post on Instagram the other day. I kind of went off because people just want to blame veganism for all their issues, and that's just, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry, but that's just not the case at all. Like, yes, diet does play a huge role in what you go through and how you feel and stuff that goes on in your body, but it's not the only factor in your health. And there's a million different factors that play a role in your health that you might not even realize, but people they want to blame the plants on all their issues, here we go, bringing up ex-vegans again. But yeah.
Are they even human? Monsters.
Are they part of what's the one
Agenda 2030?
Yeah. Well, who's the one? Who are those what do they call them?
No clue.
Some kind of figures. No. I can't. Like, I think conspiracy theorists will like call these people there's some term they use. I don't know why.
Elite?
No. It's I can't think of the term. It's like on the tip of my tongue. Um,
Who are they calling what though? Like, what
no,
is
it's
it
just
about?
like it's like people in society who like aren't real people, but I mean they are, but it's just like they just blindly follow what
Like
everyone
sheep?
says. No, she no. Oh my gosh. Dude, I'm so mad I can't think of it.
It'll come back to you.
Yeah, it will. Um, but anyways, even with someone, so you were mentioning like oxalates, causing all these issues.
Right.
It's like, how do you know that it's the oxalates? How does anybody know what really any like what the issue is for anything? Yes, I know, like we obviously for certain diseases there's like certain guidelines, and oh, it could be this, oh, it could be that,
Right.
it could be this, but how do you really know? There's just there could be so many factors in what someone's going through and dealing with, that it's almost sometimes it's even hard to give like a diagnosis for some people, so,
Oh
and
my
it's almost
God.
like
It's
I feel
probably the hardest
bad.
thing to do ever.
Yeah, well, it's almost like I feel bad for people, especially like overweight people who are going to the doctor and they have all these issues, and like and the doctor's like, just take this medication, take this. It's like, are they telling them to go to bed early? But it's also like, is that the answer? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so
Yeah. Well, I
but
think it's one of the other points that's missed is like, let's say oxalates are a problem, but eating the oxalate foods keep you from eating the Dairy Queen, and your inflammation goes down. And then the problems that the oxalates could have caused, maybe some kidney issues or whatever, are actually lessened overall
yeah,
because you're not having all this junk, this
right.
high, I know you're going to hate this MP, this high sugar, high like fat, high garbage food, right? So there has to be context.
Yeah, right.
Do
See,
people really believe that spinach is the reason for the state America's in?
yeah, well, I mean, even with the Dairy Queen, there definitely needs to be context too. It's like, let's say you give Dairy Queen to a vegan Dairy Queen to like a biker, let's just say Rain or Leo, like they could probably use that, like soy milk, soy ice cream, and
You're pulling that
some
out of the Drew
sugar.
Morg Bobby perspective.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying,
They
like,
talked about Dairy Queen, the
uh,
athletes.
did they? I did.
Yeah.
Did they? But I'm saying, like, even still, it's like, so for someone who's overweight, yeah, like obviously probably don't want to do high sugar, high
But
fat.
you
But like,
acknowledge
if you're a
the
biker,
context is what it is all about.
yeah,
Like,
right,
like
yeah,
the Dairy Queen could be good, but it also like
yeah,
the spinach could be amazing too.
yeah,
Like,
right. Because I did mention someone who is overweight and they're going to the doctor and
right.
they have all these issues and the doctor doesn't know what to say. Or
Dairy Queen
does,
deficiency.
Dairy
Dairy Queen degeneration. It's part of the daily dozen. Bacon and Dairy Queen for longevity.
Well, the people in like the Ray P community, they're all about like ice cream, and but they're all about like healthy ice cream, which is that's fair to say. I mean, I guess the ice cream
Is
that
it
they like to
healthier
do,
than banana ice cream?
they might think so, but it's just like, I guess it's what is it? Milk? Is it like frozen milk and cream and stuff, and then eggs and sugar, and maybe like something, I'm not sure, maybe something else that goes in there. But like I think what they like to do is that they like to eat like the Haagen-Dazs dairy ice cream, and they're like, it's so healthy. It has sugar and it has dairy, it has eggs. It's like
Right.
it's like a whole food mix of ice cream rather than just like corn syrup and
Sure, yeah, all the
whatever,
added
triple
chemicals,
pasteurized
colors and stuff.
fat milk, with all these fillers and emulsifiers and stuff like that. So like, can you argue that the ice cream is healthy because it's from a whole food source? Yeah, you can. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
You want to bring it back to the post itself and really share our thoughts.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we wanted to really go into that. Because I saw this post and I was like, AJ, this is like something great to talk about. And that's what's beautiful about what AJ and I are bringing to the table here, is that like we want to bring real life stuff that we see. I mean, it's social media, but it's someone in real life talking about this, and we want to like bring our thoughts on it, just to maybe get some sort of discussion from you guys.
Yeah, and I actually have a question for the audience when you're done.
Yeah, but his first statement is just says, "I eat when I'm hungry," and this is what I really wanted to bring up to AJ and just talk about it with him, because I think there's just so many nuances with eating when you're hungry, and I feel a lot of people. I mean, they might do that, which is good. But B, I also feel like there's the people who just suppress their hunger all the time because, if they eat, they're going to gain weight, and they don't want to do that, because they're eating too many calories. But they're also like under eating calories in general, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like what the heck? So, I just want to use myself as an example because, do I eat when I'm hungry? And I think like yes and no. I'm going to start with the no because I like eating on a schedule, and it just like works. It works for me. And even when I plan my day is like already planned out. All right, I'm going to get up, go to the gym, come back, eat. And then at 2:00, I'm going to eat again. If I'm hungry or not, I'm going to eat again. And then I'm going to eat later, 7-ish, then go to bed after that, not maybe a couple hours after. So like I like having a schedule of what I'm doing and when I'm eating. So I may, technically speaking, I may not be hungry. Like technically speaking, may not be hungry, but I still eat regardless. And it's just kind of like, do I need to? I don't know. I think like I want to be I still proclaim myself to be an athlete. Just because I can do that. I can say whatever I want, and I want to be an athlete. But I do. I work out a couple of times a week, and I run and I bike and I do other stuff. So I stay active and I stay moving my body. And I feel like as an athlete, you can't just say I eat when I'm hungry, because what if you're never hungry? And I do believe that working out and moving your body can suppress hunger to a large extent. I'm not sure if you agree with that, AJ, or not, but
temporarily, yeah.
But it's like people who do intermittent fasting. It's a good way. It's like you get up in the morning, you wait 2 hours, and then you're hungry, but like you just go to the gym instead of eating, which is like, okay, it's fine. You can do that. And then you come back and you're not hungry because you suppress your hunger. And it's just like that the ongoing process of doing that over and over again. So, but I mean, most of the time when I eat, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to eat. Like, let's go, like at the gym today, I was like, I had my water and I was super thirsty. Like I actually was thirsty. So I drank the water. And so it was like, it worked out nicely, but it just comes back to that point of Harley makes, like, eat before you're hungry, drink before you're thirsty. And you could even say sleep before you're tired. Which I'm not sure if he does mention that or not, but that's what I like to do. I just get the food in before I'm hungry. I get the water in before I'm thirsty most of the time. So, anyways, I said a lot there, AJ. Does it make sense though? Like kind of what I'm saying, because
completely.
Like, I know working out versus like biking is just a completely different beast. And like when you're biking, you can just I can just keep eating, and it just,
you have to.
Yeah, you do. But like when you're working out, it's not as intense and it's not as energy burning. So I feel like you don't need as much. But for me, I still maybe I do get a little bit more in than I need. And maybe that's why I'm like not as hungry as I think I should be. So, but then it's also like, what is true hunger? I mean, I could probably go the rest of the day and not eat and I'd be fine. I could probably go 2 days and not eat and just water fast and I'd be fine. So, but anyways.
Right. No, wonderfully said. When I see that post, what it makes me think of is this little roundabout that a lot of us have gone through. And what I mean by that is a lot of us have just done whatever we wanted our whole life.
Right.
Just ate when we're hungry, just eat as much as we want.
Yeah.
Well, some of us are more lucky than others. Like you and I could just eat and we'd fucking be fit as hell, right?
Yeah, right.
Growing up. So like we didn't have the issues and the mental challenges that come along with being overweight as a young person.
Right.
But it almost becomes a detriment to where we don't really know how to eat almost like a normal person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So as soon as some type of issue comes along, it's like we have to recalibrate all of the things that we've always done our whole lives.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fall into the camp and learn about cleansing or veganism or raw veganism or regular whatever, it now becomes a little more of this. It becomes a little more not only structured, but it's like it's rule based, right?
Yeah.
So you went from doing whatever you want at any time of the day, as much as you want it, to
Yeah.
hey, these are the new rules.
Yeah.
And
like, kind of like food combining, like sort of.
Well,
maybe?
Food combining, how much do I have to eat? Why can't I eat as much? Oh, it's because I'm dehydrated. Whereas before we were listening to ourselves.
Yeah, right.
Even if those cues were skewed because of the hyperpalatability of the food. But if like we were thirsty and we didn't want water, we drank some iced tea.
Yeah,
right. Some lemonade. We didn't think about I'm throwing off my electrolytes. I need more sodium in this meal. So no, if we wanted salt, we ate chips. Like we followed those cues.
Well,
but
yeah, right. Go ahead.
But the problem being over time, as we get older and have more, less vitality to bounce back from some of these foods, or less fitness, or maybe we go through a period of time where something happened, we have a course of antibiotics, all of a sudden we're faced with the fact that we need to still listen to our body, but we don't actually know how to do it in a way that feels good anymore. So we adopt these rules, we adopt these new philosophies and veganism and things, and we learn the game. It's a game. There's a structure to it. Definitely. And the thing is, depending upon where you learn or where you fall onto or what your challenges are, it becomes very, very sensitive and tricky.
Right.
So when people, I think a lot of people can relate. What I mean by the roundabout is you've done kind of whatever, you've always listened to yourself, then you followed the rules, and then you have to follow certain rules. And then people go back to listening to themselves, i.e. eating meat, but not in a carnivore diet. They eat cheesesteaks, they eat pizza, they eat regular food again, and they can kind of listen to themselves again in a context that makes sense to them. And they'll go, oh man, it's because of this, it's because of that. But really, it's very difficult to follow that natural intuition when your options are so limited. So let's say I'm really thirsty, but water seems really not appealing. A green juice might be my best option, but if I don't feel like making one, how is it the best option now? Right. So it could be that the Gatorade, even with all the chemicals, could be a better option. I don't know. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying Gatorade's healthy. If people think I'm saying that, they're not understanding the context of what I'm saying. Yeah. But the roundabout is that it's like, hey, we did whatever we wanted. Hey, now we're doing the healthy thing. We had good results. And then all of a sudden we have the worst results because of that misunderstanding or restriction. And then we go back to, oh, veganism was the problem the whole time. When really the problem was you didn't know how to listen to yourself and still eat well. And I think that was my big takeaway, that like so many of us are denying our natural desires for things. Oh my God, like I'm a young male. I have such a strong sex drive and I love beautiful women. That's a problem. I need to control myself. I can never like masturbate. I can never look at a naked girl or I'm going to go to hell. It's like, there's people who are definitely part of the problem with that, where it's like they watch porn 10 hours a day, right? Like that's clearly a problem. You're 17 and you think
just have
down the road is hot, and it's
they just have it rerunning. They work from home. They just have it rerunning on their computer in the background just over and over again.
Right, exactly. So like I think being able to be a little more mature, like we're becoming, we can look at these things for what they are instead of the black and white of like, this is the devil, this is great.
Yeah.
An apple is infinitely only good forever, or a steak is only manly and makes you strong. It's like, what about all the people who eat fucking steak every day and they can't get a boner? Like, what about that?
Right.
Oh, it's because of the rice they had with it. It's like, come on.
So I have 3 stories that I want to, it's like 2 stories and then one kind of observation that I've noticed with myself. So the first one is that like I've always just ate whatever I wanted when I wanted, like how you're saying, we'd always just did that. It was just like natural. And I vividly remember this back in college. Not sure like what year it was, but it was like a morning workout. I'm not sure if it was, we had like 5:30, 6:45 and 8 o'clock groups in the morning. I'm not sure if I was which group I was, but regardless, let's just say I was a 5:45 one. And dude, in college, I'm not kidding. Like when I was hungry, it just did not matter. I ate. Like Didn't matter what it was. Didn't matter what time
So
it was.
you weren't like, it's 4 o'clock.
No,
I'm gonna have my string beans now.
It didn't. No, yeah, right. It didn't matter. Like we always had these oatmeal packets that I took from the cafeteria, and like if I was hungry, I just eat that. And I always made sure I had. If oddly enough, I always made sure that I had like fruit with me. Like I always like carried an apple, or I took some bananas from the cafeteria, and it wasn't like I was stealing. I paid for the food, so it's a buffet. You can just get whatever you want. But like if I was hungry, I would eat it. You know, even late, and it's 10 o'clock at night. If I want pretzels with almond butter, that was like my go-to, was like pretzels with almond butter back in college. If I had it, it didn't matter. It didn't matter what time it was. I just did it.
Was the almond butter raw?
No, it wasn't. It was from
it's rancid.
I think it was from Costco or Sam's Club. But yeah, so the story was just a quick story. I got up and we had these brownies that someone's mom made us, and they just left it out on the counter in our dorm room.
Brownies.
You hate them?
I said weed brownies.
Oh, yeah, weed brownies. We were getting high before our workout with the team. But I just remember, like, got up. I don't know if I had some water, but I just like took a brownie or two, like shoved it in my mouth, because I always felt like I had to eat before. Like there was like no one ever questioned it. It was just like you always eat before your workout, no matter what time it was. I'm getting up at 5:00 and I'm eating brownies, you know, after finishing eating a couple hours before, a couple hours being 7 or 8, whatever, you know, finishing up my nightly snack before I went to bed. But yeah, so I get to the gym and we're like doing our warm-ups and stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like my stomach, like I just feel like there's just something like in there and like floating around and slushing around, and I just like feels gross, like what's going on, you know? It just didn't feel good. Like I don't want to have that feeling when I was working out. But I still did it. I still pushed myself and I still had a good workout, but it was just like always that thought of like I had to eat something before I went to the gym, you know, rather than like, dude, you had a whole day, you ate 6,000 calories yesterday. you ate 500 calories before you went to bed. Like I think it's okay that you don't have to get up and just like keep eating right before your workout. Anyways, that was the first story. The second one was when I was raw. I remember I would always do like 2 fruit meals, and I'd do like a big salad with a bunch of avocado and stuff, dressing for dinner. And I remember there was a certain time period where like I only wanted the salad. That's like all I want. Like I'll do my 2 fruit meals and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just cannot wait for dinner. Like I need dinner right now, because I want, that's all I want. Like, I mean, obviously I wanted the fruit. Yeah. Like I wanted the fruit, but I still was like, please, like, just give me the avocado, give me the greens. I just don't care. And it was like how you said you had a gourmet meal after eating starch all day, and then you had like a salad. You're like, wow, this is a gourmet meal, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Like that's kind of how I felt when I was raw. But it was like it wasn't like the whole entire year there for everything that I did, but it was like a certain time period. I really felt like I felt that, and I needed that. I needed those greens and minerals in my diet. So like I commend myself for actually like listening and following my body and doing and ensuring that I was getting that in me, you know? And then the last point and observation I want to make, it's like, I think sometimes, you know, we buy foods and they're in your house and they're there. You just kind of, I mean, if you want it, you eat it. And I remember, there's it's like some vegan plant-based queso, and it is like, oh, I'm telling you, it is so good. And I'll still get it. If they have it at Costco, I'll still buy it. But like every time I get it, I'm telling you, it is like all that I want. And I'll just keep doing it over. Dude, I could probably eat the whole container. It's like a thick container. If you're watching this on if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast or whatever, you can't really see it, but it's a pretty thick container. It's big. And, like I can eat the whole thing in probably a day. It's just so good.
Well, let me ask you, do you experience that because you only want that, it almost ruins the meals? Like it's almost exciting that nothing else is that enjoyable.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right.
No, I'm asking you, like, did you feel that way or no?
Yeah. Sometimes, but like, I'm starting to learn that like, I just got to like take it easy. And I think it had to do with like some of my meals too. Cause I was just doing like only potato, like I only wanted potatoes and then that queso dip. And I was just like dunking the potatoes in it. I was like, had so much of the plant-based queso on there. And you know what I'm saying?
I remember Richard from All About Feeling Good was interviewing me. And before we started recording, I made potatoes and I cut them all in half. This was right after Woodstock, maybe. I don't know. I always leave Woodstock not wanting to be raw. But I had a veganese and I was just taking the potato and dipping it in the veganese.
Oh my God. Was it good?
It's really fucking good. It's like potato salad, but it's hot.
Right.
It's fucking phenomenal.
Oh my gosh. Your arteries are going to be screwed because of all that canola oil that's in there.
Well, it's so funny because Rich Roll, when he was doing all of his Epic 5 training, like one of his big calorie sources was veganese. So he'd be doing like the Ezekiel bread, putting a fuck ton of the veganase on, avocado, sea salt, tomatoes, and just eating sandwiches like that, like basically like a BLT.
Wow.
Yeah, but this guy, Rich Roll was fucking fit and healthy. I mean, I'm watching him back in the day, like 2010.
Yeah.
This guy is like at the pinnacle of his training and everything. It was really cool to see.
Right.
I actually got into all this stuff because of his stuff. But I remember what's funny is because you were talking about like eating the raw meals and only thinking of the salad and stuff. When I watched Rich Roll, he was all about the vegetable smoothies. He was all about putting like beet greens and fucking like hemp seeds. And it's like the worst ever smoothie, like the worst tasting smoothie. It tastes like V8, but like terrible.
But like really maybe bad. Healthy for you.
So like I'm drinking that. I'm like, this is healthy, but I feel like crap. Like I don't feel good. And I'm not saying it isn't healthy because I think Rich Roll is a great, example of veganism, maybe one of the best. But what I am saying is as soon as I at that time ate a fruit smoothie, I was like, whoa, like I actually felt different. I actually felt satisfied and full of energy and things.
Nice.
But now I feel as though I would feel way better on the vegetable smoothie than I would a fucking fruit smoothie. So there's this like ebb and flow of it all.
Well, this has to go back to like what I was saying earlier about like the changes in our diets and what happens and lifestyles and all this stuff. So like it's fine if it happens.
And if you decided like this is healthy, so I have to do like, but what about when you feel like crap doing it?
Yeah.
Like there's going to come a day where things you either just are fed up or you're bored or you just don't feel that good doing it.
Right. It's okay. It's all good.
And a lot of people can't relate to us, MP. A lot of people don't want to stuff their face.
Yeah.
You and I, we're just like, it's like our dream to go to like a restaurant and just eat until it hurts.
Yeah. Right. Well,
like, let's be honest.
I'm getting past that point of like eating till it hurts. Like I'm really.
No, I know.
Like
I don't want it. But I'm saying it sounds fun though when you think about it. Like if you had some caffeine and you were like feeling high, you'd be like, let's fucking eat.
Right.
Let's go eat a whole Sicilian pizza.
Right. Which it's pretty easy to put down. But no, I mean, I like even just thinking about doing that, it'd be awesome. But I think like for something like that, you got to prep for it. It's like, okay, you have your breakfast, but then have like a super light lunch so that you have enough stomach room to handle a big dinner. Like it's okay if you want to stuff yourself like that, that's fine. But you just gotta spread it out. You gotta even your calories out. But anyways, back to the point I was trying to make about like having the food in your house, and it's just something like that. That's all you want, all you crave. It's funny because even the other night, some buddies from college, I went over one of my friend's house, and we were sitting there chatting. We were talking about like, I think chips or something, and the one kid was like, "Dude, I just can't buy them anymore because it's just like all I want to eat when I get them, and I just can't do it, so I just don't buy them." And I'm like, "It's a pretty good statement, So it's like, you have something in your house that like you like and enjoy, and you get these cravings for them, but are you actually hungry? So it's like you eat it and you fulfill your craving, but now is that hunger? Is that like are you actually hungry? So I think like the whole topic of like true hunger and eating when you're hungry, it's really just, it's so interesting. And that's why I think like it's good to have a schedule, because if you don't have a schedule and plan, like what if you're actually busy and you have so much to do? oh, but you only eat when you're hungry. What if you're not hungry the entire day? Do you just not eat? And then you eat, I mean, I guess you could do like one meal, but then like in your one meal, you should do like at least 2,500 calories. You could say that maybe, but people probably don't do that. They probably do a light meal, So look at us. Look at me. Now you're giving baseline calorie recommendations.
Right.
No, but like, you know what I mean? That like, then it's also funny too, because I feel like the days are on the busiest. It is true. It's like when you're out, you're moving around, you're driving out, you're driving here, you got a meeting here, you got to do this, you got to do that. Like those aren't the days where I want to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so full. And like,
yeah,
oh,
I always
now.
say it. Like I felt great on Raw Till 4, but I was always so full that I never fucking exercised. So like you're saying, oh, I'm so busy, I don't want to be bogged down.
Yeah, right.
So it'd be easier to like eat lighter than eat more at some other point in the day or the following day.
Or like have like a big meal in the morning and then digest it. You like, hopefully you can digest it all. And then you go about your day. Then you can have a big dinner. Maybe you do have a light lunch, eat a snack or something. But like, I don't think there has to be, like, there doesn't have to be some sort of guideline. Like you don't have to follow like, and this is what I'm learning too, is that like, it's not like you have to, like, I like being on a schedule, but still there's days where I don't have to feel the need to be like, I have to eat right now. I got to do this right this second, because what if I'm like going to the gym after, or what if I'm like going on a run? I'm not gonna eat a huge meal then go on a run. So you just gotta like plan your day out.
And I feel as though it's important to realize that an appetite is a healthy thing.
Yes.
I feel like there's a lot of negative connotation around having an appetite. Like it's only because you have parasites. It's only because, you haven't cleaned out the snake. It's only because you're toxic. It's only toxic hunger. If you're craving food, it's only bad. and like, even if that's not what the health educators or influencers mean to say, that is how it comes across.
Yeah.
It comes across as if you eat, you're bad, you're a failure, you're destroying yourself. And I feel as though that's really, really a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And so when I say that an appetite's a healthy thing, when I was growing up, it seems as though what my view of the world, all the people who didn't have appetites were the sickest people. They're like, I don't want to eat. I feel sick in the stomach, or I'll eat later. I don't feel good. And it's like, or when you're sick, you just lay in bed and you don't really eat because you feel sick. So when I'm out or I wasn't biking then, but I would be out like running cross country, playing soccer at 110 degrees, with my shirt off, like fucking ripped and, awesome, like a Greek god, whatever. And I'm like, I go home and I eat a lot and I'm full of energy. And it's like, because I'm young, but at the same time, I was like, every single person around me is really sick and none of them eat, and they all don't have appetites, and they all run on 4-hour energy and shit.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, yes, I don't think you should stuff your face. I don't think it's healthy. I mean, when you're younger, if you need it, that's fine. Or if you're an athlete, there's always the context, but I do feel as it's a little immature to think you should just always stuff yourself. But at the same time, like, we need to appreciate that we are human beings and we require nutrients and nutrition and food. Right. And thinking that like, if you have an appetite, that's something to celebrate. Now, if you have like a ravenous appetite that you're always unsatisfied no matter what you do, that's a negative thing. Like, you need to try to figure that out. But feeling hungry in the morning during breakfast time, that's not bad. Yeah. You know how many people wake up empty? You know how many people I know wake up and they don't eat because they have acid reflux? So their body wants food, but they're not wanting to eat the food because the acid reflux gets worse. Yeah. So does that sound healthy? But they're skipping breakfast, right? They're not eating right away. So like, all the people who are only into fasting, and they're seeing that as a good thing. When I'd say fix the reason for the acid and see if you actually have a normal appetite. Right. And really learn to ebb and flow and listen to, your natural calling to things. Mm-hmm. Like, don't you think it's a human's, that book I'm reading, this other book, it's called Endure. It's all about human endurance, testing the physiological, the mental limits of human endurance. And they're talking about thirst. And they're talking about how thirst is such a better indicator for athletes when it comes to keeping the body hydrated and cool. Not like you should have a liter an hour. You should have like these salt pills every 20 minutes. Any of that. It's like, if you're thirsty, that's the best indicator that you should drink water. Right. Not that you should. And if you think about it, Leo says it all the time. Our friend Leo, he's a cyclist. He's like, the only time I drink water is when I'm on the bike because I'm actually thirsty. Yeah. All the other times he's drinking something else. But my point being that these natural callings are really important, and I feel as though people in the health community are trying to override them by tricking themselves.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, if I stop eating at 6:30 every day, I know that my ghrelin kicks in at fucking midnight. It's like you're trying to out trick your biology. Really?
Well, wait, isn't ghrelin the hunger hormone?
I'm just kidding. I'm just exaggerating. But people are trying to put these like limits on themselves, and they don't even understand like what they're doing.
I think it is the hunger hormone.
I know.
Maybe you meant like melatonin or something, or
no, I'm just exaggerating by throwing random fucking. I'm just saying, like people are misunderstanding things. That's my point.
Right. Well, okay, so you say that. Okay, then what are your thoughts on like what Durian Rider has to say with the water? How he says like drink before you're thirsty, like how we've been saying it the past 2 episodes. Whereas this book is saying no, drink when you're thirsty, and Tassie's saying drink when you're thirsty. So like, what would your thoughts on that be?
I would say for an average person. Okay, all right.
Like what if they're not thirsty? Like,
right. What if they're not thirsty?
We know that it's still good to drink water.
Right. So people who are dehydrated, they're not going to be thirsty. But I'm saying if you are relatively healthy and your body wants you to drink the water, but you're like, I'm trying to dry fast right now, that's like not a good combination going on there. So obviously there's like nuance to it. Like if you're an athlete, you're going to feel that thirst easier than someone who never works out and never drinks any water. And there's a lot of, it's not as cut and dry, but I think that there's lots of people who are just blindly drinking water, flushing their electrolytes, right? Like that's a problem, but they're drinking the water because they think they should, not because
rather than doing it
thirsty.
because they meet a need. Yeah.
No, right. What if you're not thirsty and you don't need the water? Oh, because someone said so, you should drink it.
Yeah.
As soon as your calories drop, your sodium potassium balance gets thrown off really easily. So if you're not following all of Harley's recommendations, the water thing doesn't even count really. Because if you're eating 2,000 calories and you're trying to drink 2 or 3 liters of water, you're easily going to throw off your system. But if you're eating these large volumes of food that rob your body of its own water, now it becomes a lot more relevant.
Yeah.
Same with the sleep. Water. If you're drinking all that water and you don't get good sleep, again, you're throwing off your sodium potassium ratio. So his is like a complete package that if you don't follow one of the spokes, you kind of throw everything off and it doesn't work that well.
Right.
But no one's following it. Like what I mean by that is no one's vegan to begin with in the world. So like for the everyday person to just start drinking 2 or 3 liters and not also increasing the food and having some fitness, it just doesn't really seem to work.
But what about like the people who do just sort of eat whatever they want and it's robbing their body of the water? Like, shouldn't they still replenish the water and replace it to some regard?
I'm not saying that they should only drink soda or coffee or beer as the liquid that they drink.
Yeah.
But I think that just blindly drinking it isn't really a sustainable solution.
So once again, it's kind of like having a plan, sort of, potentially.
So it's a mixture. So I think that the realization that you and I will probably come to, or we are right now, is there's a point where you have to listen to your body, but there's also a point where you have to really understand health and common sense. And what I mean by that is like, you could have all the knowledge in the world, but you're not listening to your body at all. You're going to fuck yourself up. Right. Or you can have, you can be such a master of listening to your body, but if your body's signals aren't giving you the signals that you understand to make it healthy, then it doesn't matter. Like, okay, I'm never thirsty because I'm so good at dry fasting. It doesn't mean that it's healthy, right? So we're always going to fall somewhere in the middle as we get a little more mature. It's not like, hey, this is all the answers, but hunger is a good thing. Being healthy and being able to be excited for food is very good. Being scared of food, being sick of food, like these aren't indicators of health.
Right.
Think about a child. The child's like the healthiest, right? Out of all the age, like young person, they're so excited for food. Yeah, they just look at an animal in nature. They're so excited to eat.
Yeah,
but you have to be able to distinguish. Just like if you compared it to someone who's addicted to food, just like someone could be addicted to porn. That's different than having an appetite. Does that make sense? That's the point I'm trying to get across.
Yes.
Like having love in your life and a relationship is a beautiful thing. Just like an appetite and eating healthy food, or just eating food that feels healthy and get you a health results, that's a great thing. But as soon as you become microanalytic, linear, okay, like I had salt Thursday, so Saturday I have to do a kidney flush. It's detrimental. And same thing, like I have a friend, he's a fucking moron, right? He's like, the only woman I'm ever gonna marry is gonna have red hair and green eyes because that's the rarest. I'm like, so you meet a woman who's beautiful, who has brown hair and treats you well, you're gonna be like, sorry, bitch. And this is what people are doing with diet. I'm only gonna eat this way. Well, what if you feel like shit?
Right.
Well, it's the healthiest way. I'm gonna do it anyway. Why?
There's plenty of ways to do it, ladies and gentlemen. There's plenty of ways to do it. So
yeah.
All right, AJ.
I don't know if you have a third story or not, or you
no.
Yeah, start wrapping up.
Yeah, no. It was just the two stories, and then just the observation that I made with like, if you're actually hungry, but you're just eating these foods that might not necessarily be the best, even though the plant-based queso is like whole food based sauce, which is pretty good. But it's just like when I have it, it's just like that's all I want. So like, am I actually hungry, or am I just, is it like an obstruction or a hindrance in my life that I just got to limit, Yeah.
So, there should be a level of like tranquility and peace that comes along with eating. Like, oh, I get to eat, not like,
right. Totally. But yeah, that was about it. So I think we talked about a lot here. And we had an awesome
I hope you guys
enjoyed
this. Kind of stuff. Let us know. Let us know what you thought down below.
Yeah,
we love your feedback.
So, but hey, I think I do believe that. Hey, I mean, if you want to eat when you're hungry and that works for you, then go for it. Do what you think's best.
Just make the goal feeling good and being sane.
Yeah.
If you feel insane, but you feel good, that's still a red flag in a way.
Right. Cool. AJ, that's all I have for you guys today. AJ.
Stay hungry.
Yes, sir. Stay up, be great. Always keep it HUNNIT, baby. That is hungry people checking out.